Am I live? All right, everybody. It's that time. It is the time that makes us all a little bit sad. It's our last presentation for the Motion Capture Content Creators Conference, MC for short. I am very excited about this one because Katie Joe, you met in our previous sessions, has kept me completely in the dark with like some vague understanding of what these two people are doing. So let me introduce Eric Baeer and Nick Romick. If you guys can turn on your cameras, I'm excited to see what you're doing. Something virtual production. We know Eric's over in Texas, Nick's in Vancouver, and they're gonna make some magic happen right now.
Hey, how's it going?
Take it away, guys.
So don't be sad.
Save the best for last, right?
How did it go?
Yeah.
How's it been going today?
Oh, it's been excellent. And thanks for asking, because if you guys missed any of the other sessions, all this is going to be recorded and we're going to have it on our website early next week. So you can make sure you catch any of the sessions that you missed.
Great.
And I'm going to turn my camera off and let you guys take it away now.
You bet.
Nick, you want to start out?
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of information about who I am and everything. So my name is Nick Romick, and I'm with RetroPixel Digital in Vancouver, BC. Our company specializes in creating our own content, and we're especially excited about virtual production because it's super new and it's really awesome. COVID-19 has really changed the way we operate, and it's given us this opportunity to focus on running productions remotely, which is really neat. And currently we're doing a 10-episode web series pitting popular sci-fi and comic book heroes against each other. So the first episode we're doing right now is called Darth Vader versus Master Chief, which is super cool. I love this kind of stuff. We're doing other ones like later Iron Man versus Terminator, Hulk versus Wolverine, crazy stuff like that. So, but for this one, we're going to be using the XSENS MVN Link MoCap suit and some Manus Prime 2 gloves. And we're going to be doing everything in Unreal Engine just to create a full CG episode. We're really trying to push the envelope here with the new tech. We're playing around with some new stuff, things that just people have never really done with virtual production, but maybe they have with games. That's just really exciting for us. So we're currently actually developing a couple different systems. One of them is using positional data that's going to allow for the lightsaber itself to be tracked independently. We're using HTC Vive trackers for that, which is really neat. So Vader can actually switch hands. He can throw it back and forth. He could drop it if he's really clumsy. We've seen it. So we're also
We'll
playing.
show you that.
Yeah, we'll show you that. We're also playing with a switch so that he's got a control that he can extend and retract the blade, just so the actor can use that. So we're also applying that to other props like blasters, light swords, stuff like that. It's going to be really easy for the actor to just do their thing rather than have to do that in post, which is really neat. So I did actually reach out to Eric in Texas not too long ago to help us work remotely because he's got the same XSENS suit that I have. And it's we're actually hoping to, well, we're doing it remotely right now, but we're hoping this summer to have Eric join us in Vancouver for the film shoot for the full episode. So that way we have two XSENS suits. They're actually interacting because they're going to be hitting each other. Hopefully don't get bruised or anything like that. But other than that, I guess I'll hand it over to Eric and have him introduce himself.
Yeah, great. So I'm Eric Baeer. I am a classically trained actor, although I spent the bulk of my life not in performing arts. I've been an entrepreneur for the last, I won't tell you how many decades, but because I grew up in musical theater, I had a certain kind of perspective on the nature of acting. So I've been using the last 3 years in conservatory to unlearn everything I knew to bring authenticity and let my soul and the truth of emotional experiences come through. And with COVID, it seemed like this great opportunity to explore motion capture. I've got a home studio here. And so last summer, I teamed up with XSENS to build out my home setup so that I could work with producers like Nick remotely, and we could make things even under quarantine. So I don't see it necessarily changing so much after we all get out. Now, you know, we're all vaccinated, we're getting vaccinated, which means we can travel, we can be in person. But it turns out we've learned a lot about how to work remote in ways that are really productive. So all the pre-production work that goes on in figuring out, you know, how does this character's rig match a particular actor's motion, and what does the actor need to do in their homework to learn to embody that particular actor, that skin, right? And we only need to get in person because he can direct me over Zoom, and we have a VPN, so my data pipes directly to him. That's what we're going to show you. We only really need to be in the same volume at the same time if we're doing fight choreography, or where the line of sight between two characters makes a lot of sense to, you know, keep it real at that time. And then, you know, after we shoot that, come back from Vancouver, he's got some cleanup. We can do kind of PCAP, MoCap like ADR to fill in some of those corrections. So let me switch my view so you can see, you know, so here's me sitting in a chair, right? I have on the XSENS suit, which has the 17 sensors throughout my body. I have these Manus Prime 2 gloves, which gives me hand articulation. And then I have a standard deviation helmet with an iPhone mini. This is an incredibly comfortable helmet. We're not doing face capture today because, of course, Vader is in a helmet. The value of this today, let me zoom out, and you can see that I am seeing on my screen in front of me, Nick and myself, and when he shows the Unreal view, I'll be able to see myself as Darth Vader in there. So if I need to do any posture correction or alignment, I've got it right here in front of me to work with, which is kind of cool. It was an unexpected surprise in doing this work. So the last piece of tech with this latest version of NVN is we've integrated these Vive trackers. This is a 3.0 tracker on my lightsaber. We also have one on my elbow, and the reason for that is because the NVN suit is using inertial sensors. It's filled with accelerometers, so it's the relative motion and relative position, but we can get drift. So with just one sensor on my body that grounds it with these various towers around the room, it locks my position into a very specific place. And then when I have an object like this saber that I can, you know, toss back and forth, we now have an object that can come right into Unreal and be, you know, be used in that sort of way. That's probably enough of an introduction there.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll actually pull you into. I'm sure everyone can see on my screen now that we can see the what I'm looking at. So I'm going to get rid of myself here. This is Unreal. This is just the viewport, so you can see I can move around here. Here's our Darth Vader, and we've actually gone in here and we've plugged in Live Link over here. I can see we're on a VPN together, so that now I can see all of Eric's stuff here. So we've plugged that into here. So when we hit play, and I'm just going to bring up a camera. I've actually kind of got a cool little rig behind me here, if you guys can see this. Now, this is a virtual camera rig. It's kind of a physical version of a physical controller for what we're looking at here. So what I can do is I can switch this on, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go through a couple of shots here. I'm going to show you the process of how we do it with Unreal Engine and virtual production. So I'm going to turn this on here because this helps the DP. This is kind of just, yeah, it plugs directly in here. This helps the DP actually see what he's seeing. I'm using a Decklink media capture card. So when I hit play here, actually, I'm just quickly plug that into the cam. Okay, and then I'm going to play that, and then you're going to be able to see. Oh, hold on. Let's just start that again. So yeah, actually, this virtual camera here has. I'll show you here real quick. This is the virtual camera here is just a rig, and it's using an HTC Vive controller with a 3D printed part on it, and that right there controls everything. So I have to make sure that that's on and being tracked by my sensors. And we'll hear a beep here. Okay, so it's beeped. So now we've got this here, and then now when I play, when I go over here, and when I play that, you're gonna see I have physical control of that. So I kind of gave it a Dutch there, but let's take a look here and see. So here's our shot. I'm gonna restart that so you can see the cool stuff. But again, I've got full control using that. So that's how we're gonna be doing a lot of the stuff that we're doing. So I'm gonna put the camera back in so you can see what I'm doing. But you can see that I'm actually moving this and it's going. So I can even capture that, and then you'll see, if you see on the back there, you can see what I'm seeing. I'll full screen that for you guys. So focus, but now you can see that this camera is showing me. So as a DP, what I can do is I can disable or open this, pop this out of here, and it's just a camera rig that I can actually go around, and I can kind of, you know, I can DP, I can see things, I can do whatever I need to do, and I don't have to be looking at the computer and going back and seeing where I'm at, because, you know, that's that. So really handy rig for some of that stuff. So I guess what I'll do here is we'll go ahead and we'll get some shots. We'll get into some shots here, and keep in mind this isn't rendered. None of this is rendered here. This is kind of our
means we're going to stream it in real time.
Yeah, streaming in real time, you don't get the extra anti-aliasing and all the extra ray tracing and all that fun stuff. So when we do render out everything, then it will be at a much better quality as well, even though it is pretty decent quality here. Running on a 1080, an NVIDIA 1080, which is pretty amazing. It's got ray tracing on, just lower settings, but it looks beautiful. So yeah, what we'll do here is I'm going to go through a couple different cameras that I have. Here we go. Let's pop that out of there.
Where do you want me, Nick?
Let's see. What we're gonna try with. We got the VCam wide explosion. We've already seen that, but let's show you actually this in this camera here. So we're seeing Master Chief, and Master Chief is just cached FBX data. So what's happened is this is me that has been rendered, or sorry, I've taken that motion capture another time and I've saved it out as FBX, which is the file for that, and I've imported in here. So you're gonna see he kind of walks up to the mouse, he's grabbing the mouse, boom, he flips for a second, and what that's doing is it's just replaying. So he's on a repeat loop. So he's just doing whatever he's doing. Now if I go over here, that right there is live data, and that is Mr. Eric Baeer real time. So everything, if you can see his screen, you can see everything he does. Vader's actually doing it. So that's where we can have multiple NVN suits going, or we can have a combination of some cache data there, and then a real guy here. So I can kind of, like the traditional method is, I can be the DP, I can be the director, and I could be telling him what to do. So guiding him. It'd be even better if we had 2 MVNs, but I just don't think I could have done all that at the same time as presenting. So what we'll do is I've got a couple different cameras here, so we're going to pop up. We're going to do the Vader Close Up, and we'll play that one. And so I'm going to restart that because you had some messed up physics going on. Okay, here we go. And so, yeah, so what I'll do is I'm just going to guide Eric here. So can you do your lines? So I'll just say ready and Action Vader.
Very impressive. The Empire could use a woman like you.
Perfect. Now, just wonder if we could try a friendlier approach.
A friendly Vader.
Yeah, friendly Vader. Let's give it a.
Right. Very impressive. The Empire could use a woman like you.
Yeah, very good. So how about let's say I was gonna say you could taunt Master Chief a bit more, but I think that's pretty good. Let's give it a more aggressive approach. Let's see what you do.
So this is, just to get my context, this is just after the explosion. I'm now approaching where is Master Chief in relation to me?
He's gonna be directly in front of you.
Direct, and I'm but you don't want me facing the camera. You want me facing.
Well, let's
right?
pretend that Master Chief is at the camera, so eye level. Also, I think the explosion was your stormtroopers. You've just lost a squad there, so you're a little miffed about that. So maybe project that a little bit, and then give it a little bit more aggression on it.
All right.
You're mad. Your lightsaber's already out. Like you're ready to go.
Where do you want it during this take?
Yeah, the last position at an angle, going from to the left, top left side of the screen. Yeah, I like that. Lens flare looks really good on that. Okay, and Action Vader.
Very impressive. The Empire could use a woman like you.
I like it. Okay, let's switch this up here. And then yeah, like when we're doing this stuff, we can actually record that. So if we like something, we'll actually record it and we'll throw it in the renderer, and we can render it out and we can send it to our compositors. Really super neat stuff. So here's a Master Chief. Here, I'm gonna switch to the Vader camera here, and then we'll give that one, save it, and then so this is all you. This is just a different angle.
Okay.
You're just gonna walk in.
So the rotation is different.
Yeah, it is. So, and that's the fun part. Like if something is in our way, we can always move it out of the way. So in this shot here, there was a big plant in the way, and I didn't like it, so I just got rid of it. So I guess.
So I'm coming up to the edge of my volume here. Can you maybe move me back so I can be a little bit, move me forward in your space?
Okay.
So I have a little more room to work.
So I've got you, and I can move you forward.
Great.
We'll play that. How's that?
Very good. Very impressive. The Empire could use a woman like you.
Not a chance. P.S. I'm a man.
I will give you 24 hours to reconsider. Do not disappoint me.
Cool. Cut. Let's cut on that one, and then we'll this one we'll speed it up a little bit. Or no, we'll slow it down. Let's slow it down. Just walk in super massive Vader like.
You want me to turn from the right or turn from the left?
Turn from the left, from camera left.
So
Opposite.
the
Back
other
up
way.
that close to you. That's another thing we can do. See here, I'll show everybody as well. We have like, oops, I duplicated you. Okay, so we can back this up. So here's our light. So you noticed earlier it was a little too bright. I can move it back a little bit just depending on there. So on LX as well, which is nice. See, that's a lot better. Okay, and then so Master Chief is going to be to your right now. Your right.
To my right. This
There,
way.
yeah, that's what he's going to be. So you can turn, actually you're creeping up on him. He's the one that doesn't realize you're there. So you can start off in position facing him.
All right.
I like it. And then maybe back up about 5 paces if you can. Other way. Turn around. Turn to your left. Oh yeah, there you go. There, that's perfect. Now we can
And
kind of
then forward is no,
to your left.
forward is that way.
Yeah.
So it'll be like this.
Yeah. Or yeah, it's beautiful. I like the lighting on that one. I think you're a little bit. I like the lighting from your lightsaber as well. So just give it a, let's give it a practice run to ones and then action Vader.
A very impressive breastplate. You are no man.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so we're gonna go in with the other shot here. So this is the one I skipped before because there's a, we're gonna have to move Vader around here for this one. So if I play that here, I'm gonna have you walk back and forth.
Where's my
Walk around the room. See, I'm gonna see where you're at right now. I can't really move the camera right now because I'm
all right,
walking.
I'll pick up the pace so you can find me quicker.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like we're gonna make you. So camera's over here. I'm gonna pull you into about there. Remember our tree? I moved the tree, which is cool. Okay, there you go. Now turn around.
Or what?
You see you? Now you would turn face towards Master Chief, so be to your right, directly behind you. Yeah, right there. And that's where we do a rack focus. Now a rack
Great.
focus in there. So just for the viewers, I'm gonna have you maybe take a little step to your left just a little bit, just for framing. Yeah, that's perfect. So just for the viewers and for everybody here, this is a common practice in film. It's called framing. So if you notice the tree in the background, it is in the background, but it's creating a physical or a visual barrier for you. So as the viewer, you watch and you see this in the middle of it and your brain picks it up. You don't really realize, but there's something directly between the two of the characters. It's not physically in their way if they're not going to walk into it, but visually it breaks them apart. Now that creates tension and it shows that they're not really on the same page type of thing, and it kind of gives you a little bit more conflict in your mind. So really neat there. So that's why we've placed that there, because I have the ability, of course, to move it out of the way. So I could put it over here and I could press play there, and then there's no tree there. So this is a good shot. It's okay, but I find it much more visually beautiful, and it does have that framing that it builds you up a little bit.
This forwards.
So yeah, so in this particular shot, let's give you another shot here. And we'll have you step in towards Master Chief. Now, the issue with working with cached data and FBX is the fact that we can't really tell him what to do. He's just going to do what he's doing. So Eric has to kind of keep up with him on that one. So I'll have you just walk in. We'll just do this as the last shot. I think we're coming close to time. But if you go ahead and walk in and say your line, and let's just give it up a different, give it a little bit different. Let's switch up the lines here. You can improv this one if you want. Just throw in your own Eric Baeer style trademark. And action Vader.
Mandalorian. Look at me. Mandalorian. I am speaking to you. I am finding my place. Where are you? There you are. Stop walking. Look at me. You can be the new Phasma. Come with me. Come with me. I'm telling you, come with me. Are you mute? Jesus, can this guy speak?
And another thing I can do here is I can take this, let's see, this is the MC cam. And I'm gonna grab that guy and I'm gonna pilot through there and then quickly add, maybe he wants to be in shot. So now we've got you. We would just traditionally we do a rack focus in post-production or actually in the renderer.
Join me.
All right,
Seriously.
cut. What I'll do here is I'm going to quickly throw the last shot in here, and then I'm just going to kind of, I mean, I do know that I was hinting during the whole time. There are many things that I, as an artist, can do here. You saw me changing the framing. First of all, that would be set deck normally on a regular set. This one here, I mean, if you've got trees, you really can't move them if they're permanent. So that's another thing that virtual production is a lot easier over the traditional style. Another thing is like just removing things like that. I mean, just if I wanted to move the placement of this, I don't have to have construction and set deck come in and do that. Lighting, I can move the lighting around. If I wanted to change the time of day, I could do that. I can move the actors, I can move them around, I can duplicate them, I can add them more, I can do a whole bunch of stuff. Stuff that you can't do in a traditional, or you can do, but it's much more difficult. So very handy stuff there. I'm just going to pop in the last VCam here. So for the, this is another virtual camera, but this one here is very specific to a shot for Master Chief. So I'm going to have to turn this.
Am I going back in the volume?
No, this one's going to be a solo on Master Chief. So as you can see, like if you play around with a cinematic camera, and you get that real shake, it's really, really handy. Like if I want to look over here, that's the explosion right there. Let's replay this because the explosion will do it. And then you can add it. You know, you can do whatever you want, but it's really handy to be able to have this kind of cinematic look, and it looks super real. I know there's a little bit of clipping on Master Chief there, but this is early in on that. So yeah, that looks great. So it's very handy, and I really love the fact that we can have Eric Baeer in here doing his amazing stuff. So with that, I think we should probably get ready for taking some questions. I don't know. What are we doing for time there?
Yeah, I think transitioning to Q&A sounds good, unless there was anything else you guys wanted to share.
Well, I could just really quickly show you some of the storyboards that we had. Our amazing Bulent Hassan has just put that together. He's on our team as well. So that's a little bit more of the creative process here, which is really cool. So you can see here's some of the shots that we did for the storyboard without giving too much away. This is how talented our team is. Bulent did all these shots here for. These are just kind of cropped parts of the storyboard, but it really helps us in blocking and everything like that. So we have some really neat people on our team, and it's really a cool experience, and we're just having so much fun on it. And yeah, this is just this Unreal, and this motion capture really just goes crazy. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of that before I went, away. So other than that, yeah, I'm ready. Eric, anything?
I'm ready for some questions.
Yeah, I really like the ad of this is like, hey Mandalorian, like Darth Vader out there.
Chris, was it a good surprise?
Halo is strong in this one.
That was epic, and I think like it's easy to overlook, but Eric also had the whole vibe pucks going right there. So his root position never drifted, which is a big thing to fix. And when you're handling an Unreal scene like how Nick is, and if you're needing to adjust a tree, you don't want to eventually drift into that tree. You want your marks as the talent to always stay true to your marks, which is pretty big to say. And it's awesome that you guys are taking all this, streaming over it's XSENS's VPN, and then showing this live inside. So there's really a lot going on, and my mind was blown.
And it's helpful as an actor to be able to have things like the tree be mapped to the same location as the heavy bag in the space. So I have a physical reference.
Yeah, exactly. It's so cool. But
No, I
we have some questions. I'll just start shooting them out. How are you not getting any latency?
Oh, that's a really good question. Are you talking mostly on the connection between the two of us, or?
Yeah, I think people are wondering because
Amazing, right?
maybe between Eric and the XSENS system, but also maybe you guys have some sweet fiber optic internet that people are wondering about or something.
Well, I can talk about what's going on locally in the space here, and then what's going. We can talk about each of our locales. So my computer is hardlined into my router, right? So I've got the 4 gigabit speed coming out of my computer. Now going into my computer is a dedicated Wi-Fi router. Its only client is the body pack on my suit. So there's no competing traffic. It's within this entire volume, no one's competing on that channel for data. And then think about it. There's 17 or 18 sensors on my body from the XSENS with 6 degrees of freedom. We've got and so that's all that's going through that, right? It's 240 frames a second, but it's not an insane amount of data in terms of sending content across the pipe. This sensor on my elbow is being read by one of these HCC Vive dongles in the space, as is the one on the prop. Now, but the one on my elbow is only going into XSENS. XSENS is integrating that with my suit to normalize my position in the volume, right? So that's not extra data that's coming across the pipe to Unreal. The only Vive data that's coming to Unreal is from one of these sensors, and we've tried it with several. It doesn't seem to make a difference. The only thing you need to watch out for is putting too many sensor dongles on a single USB hub, because they have traffic collisions. And then our VPN is just us. We have a Baeer.co VPN operating right now. We're the only clients, and so I send that data to Nick, and then he can talk about why it's reacting so fast in his world.
Yeah, so really I got some pretty good internet. Actually, I'm on wireless, so it's kind of funny that it happened like that. But yeah, my internet's strong, and when it comes directly in, yeah, there's no need for latency. I'm amazed that the latency out through OBS on an NVIDIA a couple year old card, the 1080. I'm amazed that actually went through without having any latency. So it's an optimized scene. I've got ray tracing on, which is really cool, and it's still reacting very well. But yeah, we haven't had any latency at all. That's not
been good.
So
yeah,
it's only if one and look, and Nick mentioned this before. He's running a 1080 GPU, which doesn't even make sense that it works to the degree that it does. And I've just done some tests also to Vancouver with another studio, WildBrain, using LiveLink Face over a Tailscale VPN, and we see clean data there as well.
So
yeah.
I got a couple of questions that are like stemming off of your answers.
Okay.
One is, why did you choose the arm as the position? Just to give people context, you can put it on your forearm, you can put it on your shins, or you can put it on your pelvis.
Yeah, so I found that putting it on my pelvis was the initial place we tried it. I had to make the belt pretty tight to keep it from moving around on my body. And we've spent a lot of time in the last 2 weeks trying to deal with the Vive controller in Unreal. So we experimented with like moving the sensors around. We had it on my right arm, my left arm, one on each arm and my pelvis to see if we could help. But we're getting some sort of double transformation problem that we'll solve. And once we get it solved, we'll post about how we solved it so that other people don't have to bang their heads against it, because right now it's a bit of a three-dimensional rotation puzzle that our brains have not quite solved. So the other reason is because, so given the configuration of the towers in here, my left arm is one that's easily visible to the towers when I'm sitting at this workstation. So I've got a tower in front of me, a tower straight back, one over there, and one over there. So at least at all times, 3 of these is seeing this arm, and that way I can sit and not have my character drift or start to collapse.
Got it. And then this question was for Nick. What about the latency in the virtual camera system as far as the streaming into Unreal?
Originally I had some latency on it because I was using, like, I have it plugged into an SDI cable on the back, and the SDI cable is going into Blackmagic Decklink Pro 8K, and I had to chop, and I was wondering what's going on. I'm playing around with it, and then I realized that it's because I'm using a 6G cable. So I got a 12G cable. It's smooth as butter now. So no latency there. I was gonna do a wireless, a wireless solution eventually, but right now I don't need it. I mean, I've got HTC Vives that are tracking this anyway, so I'm limited to my room, so I don't really need to run around too far away. But eventually that is going to be one of the things, because I don't want to trip over it and make myself look like a fool. But yeah, the latency, that was how I fixed that originally, because it was just a cable. I was hoping it was a cable because it was the simplest solution, and it turned out it was.
That's your tech tip for the day. Bigger cables.
Yeah, I fought with it for a bit. No one else could tell me, and I just bought a new cable, and that was it.
I have a quick question for Eric. Eric, you said one of the really nice things about having the iPhone in front is so that you can see the real-time previs to help you find your body awareness in the space. But someone would like to know if maybe in the next shoot the two of you have, what if you wore the head-mounted display for the Vive so that you could have that VR experience and really feel like you're there?
Yeah, so that's a great idea. And that kind of a thing only works if we're not doing face capture. So like when we go and do, Iron Man, and we have to go inside the helmet, we're going to need my face to be, fully operational. And I've not found the Vive Pro I I haven't even been able to get that to work yet. But maybe someone from HTC can help us with that. I love the idea of being able to turn and see, have the orientation of my head mapped to a camera, just like, Nick's camera is on a sensor that the Vive headset would allow me to look around the virtual space. Be phenomenal, because it's, VR is so transformative.
And I could. So
what's that?
I said I could do that in 5 minutes if you want to try it one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Then this is a kind of cute question. How'd you guys meet? How do you so it's this person has a system but wants to find people that gets him or her. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's actually the other day. So what I'm doing is I'm putting together this kind of like a video cast podcast type of thing called Cookies for Breakfast through RetroPixel Digital. And so I went out and I reached out to everybody that I saw that were other influencers, people that are using MPN, so I kind of reached out to a whole bunch of people. Eric was one of them, because I'm like, oh, he'd be an amazing person to deal with. And then so he got back to me and he said, yeah, this is great. So let's set that up. And then in the meantime, he said, hey, do you want to join me for this XSENS thing? But I've actually reached out to a bunch of people about like Feeding Wolves is one of them, and then so Gabriella, and I've reached out to people with the XSENS suit, because collaborating would be amazing. And as you can see, this is a direct result of that. It's kind of neat to have questions or answers. I mean, I talked to Gabriella, and she told me like she's like, oh yeah, have you tried on body recording? I know this is silly, I didn't know about it, but I was like,
Oh,
oh,
it's great. On body. So, yeah, the on body recording is phenomenal because the suit has a GPS sensor. And, you know, if any of you have been tracking my social, you know that quadruped motion is one of my passions. And so, you know, this volume is too small to do a lot of quadruped work, but outside is great. And so I can go and, you know, anywhere in the world and record several hours of motion, you know, on the body pack memory with the GPS as my centering instead of the Vive tracker, and then come back in here, download that in, and then take it straight into Unreal. It's that's super cool.
You're welcome.
yeah, I forgot. I didn't realize this, and I felt kind of dumb when I heard about it. But I had like taken everything. Like I brought a laptop out, and I got like a power inverter and all this stuff because I wanted to film some stuff next to my car, so I could get into the car and record that. And I brought the laptop and the router and everything. And then when I heard about that, I was like, oh, cool. It's a story I'll never tell. And here I am.
Save cables.
Yeah.
Nick, the data from Master Chief, you didn't stream that in real time and record in engine. You HTTP process exported the data, but then how did you get that FBX data into Unreal?
Oh, I'm all about making like the least amount of work. So it's actually interesting how I did that. So I went in and I took the data. So I exported the FBX data of a motion capture from MVN, and I imported that into Maya. And then I went to frame -1, which is the T-pose, and I deleted all the other frames. So now I've got this T-pose. And so what I do with all of my characters that I'm going to be importing and using MVN with, I actually I rig the character based on that bone structure. So there's no renaming, there's no retargeting, there's no nothing, because when I create the skeleton in Unreal, I create the skeleton, I do all that stuff, and then when I import FBX, it instantly works. There's no retargeting. So it just like I click and drag whatever FBX I want that's created from MVN, and suddenly I click and drag that into my scene, and boom, you got it working. So that's been the handiest thing because you know, retargeting, like, okay, what is this bone called and what is that bone called? So even if I get a rig that I've got from before and it's already rigged and it's got naming, I will derig it and I'll re-rig it with the MVN bone structure because it's got the easiest conversion. Now I can just drag new data on there without having to do anything extra. So
Smart.
Yeah, cheater.
Well, it's really helpful. Look, because I want to spend my time as an actor, and I don't want to muck around with the technology. You know, I've done that for the rest of my life. I'm ready to just live in the world of imagination. So that approach is so much better than having to take a janky rig and torque it to get it to, you know, fit reality.
Yeah.
So this is a cool question, and I've seen it done with other people, but the question is, if there are several characters in the scene who are actively interacting with one another, will you need like separate systems, or can you have a smaller number of NVN suits, create a sequence with one, and then like layer them pretty much?
Well, it depends. So look, so there's a couple of different ways of doing it. You know, one is if those characters are interacting, I'll tell you as an actor, it's much better to have an eye line and a human being to react to, because you know, the performance isn't about indicating something. It's about feeling the real feelings that happen in connection. And so those moments are best to be together. But later this afternoon, we've got to shoot a bunch of stormtroopers to fill out this scene, and I'll play all those stormtroopers. We'll just shoot one at a time, and they'll all have, you know, slightly different gait to them, and, you know, bounce or whatever, or injuries, and then we can take all those and he can stack them up in parallel and create a whole troop of stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've seen people use metronomes to like choreography like one dance side and then play the other side based on like what they hear in the metronome.
Mm-hmm.
Blows my brain, but
We have an audio related question. How do you work the voice of the character in real time? Is it part of the suit or is it an additional hardware? So I guess I can quickly just answer that the MoCap suits that XSENS sells do not come with microphones. So how are we hearing your audio, Eric?
Yeah, so you know, I'm logged into this Zoom or GoTo thing from my phone as a separate participant. If we're using Live Link Face, for example, it would all be captured on the phone. It is sent wirelessly, actually through a different router than the router that is taking my body, and then piping into Live Link Face in Unreal, either locally on my machine or over the VPN to go to the producer's machine. And but look, for this one, you know, we could goof around with the soundtrack because we're not using this sound on Vader. There's no lip sync. There's no, and in fact, for the actual production, I'm going to be doing the voice of Master Chief, and somebody else is doing the voice of Vader. So as long as we get the general gist of it and the head motions and the hands, you know, it'll be an ADR session that fills that in.
yeah.
Yeah, we got a cast coming. That's all I gotta say.
And I know you're using the Manus gloves now, Eric. Are they working for you?
They are. They're great. You know, there's some articulation issues that we've had in Unreal around thumbs, but that's not a Manus issue. The gloves are here. Let me switch back to this view and zoom in just a little bit. So, you know, it's these hands, they feel great, quite responsive. You know, the hardest part about using these gloves is when I can't use a trackpad, and I prefer a trackpad over a mouse because my fingers are blocked. And then typing, I'm like, dur, 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 dur. And if someone texts me on my phone, I'm like, dur, 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 dur. So it's just you know, a little bit of a problem operating as a human being in this space, but not as an actor.
Cool.
Okay, so I think we have time for just one or two more questions. I think my last question is, when can we expect this trailer, this episode, and where can we watch it?
So that will be on the RetroPixel digital YouTube, and should be within a couple weeks. What we're doing is, I hope to have this done like ASAP, all for the visual effects, but we're handing it over to compositors to do that, color correction, and there's not a lot of compositing. But then we've got a wonderful score being made by a very talented individual, and then we've got some voices that are going to be recorded and put into there, and then we've also got some sounds that's got to be put in there. So post-production. So I'm thinking the timeline will be about 2 weeks. That's what we're aiming for. Probably less than a week, maybe even by the end of this weekend, when all the visual effects and all that stuff is going to be ready and exported. So 2 weeks. And RetroPixel Digital's YouTube. Just look it up and it should be there. Don't even know the.
You know that if you follow either of us on social, it'll come to you.
Oh, it'll be everywhere on every social media of ours. Like I'm gonna be posting on LinkedIn and everything. So yeah.
What do you think, Chris? Any more questions for these two brilliant MoCap virtual production people, artists?
Oh, you're so kind. Hey, but before you do that, look, we should thank you. Look, I mean, thanks to XSENS for you know, creating the possibility of stepping into another reality. It's thrilling.
Oh, thank you, you guys, for what I really loved about your session is like the rawness and the reality of it, right? Like the two of you were working together like you work together on a day-to-day basis, and the way that you were communicating with each other. And I thought it was very authentic. That's what I liked about it.
It's so cool because we just met 2 weeks ago.
I know. It's meant to be. Awesome.
Yep. So I guess that being said, thanks to everybody who joined us, the technician, Corey, Sam, Christian also was behind the scenes from the Corridor crew, Eric, Nick, you guys did great. It's been an awesome conference. We're messaging each other saying like, this is not gonna be the first one. This is awesome. So if any of you have watched this and are thinking this would be sweet to be part of, let us know. Our emails are like right here. So email us and we'll connect. If you have remaining questions, we can answer them. But I say that's it.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Wrap.
Thanks so much.
Boom. High five.
Thanks all.
Sure.
Come on.
Bye, everyone. Mwah.